One of the most interesting parts of the end of term in elementary school for me was the Makosa dance presentation. Every student wanted to be part of the troupe to entertain the parents on that day. And we had Mr. Adams from Equatorial Guinea who came to teach us the real Makosa dance. This particular time, I went for the auditioning and I was good in every other aspect except one particular complicated step. And Mr. Adams used this step to choose who made the final cut or not. I failed the audition and I was sent out. I cried bitterly and I swore that the next year I must get that step. I spent the rest of the next term learning in every recess that particular step. The time came for the auditioning the following term. I got the step and I was the leader of the Makosa troupe. Now, the dilemma I had in the Makosa dance auditioning is the same that most young Nigerians who have an interest in governance face. They know they are good, they are skilled, probably they have experience of governance in other climes, but they don't know how to play the politics that is pertinent to Nigeria that will get them into power. This is the Reawakening Nigeria, and today we are discussing effective politics for young people. How can Nigerians change the statistics that only 8.6% of the State House of Assembly legislative seats are occupied by people 35 years or younger? Today, I have two wonderful guests and we're going to be discussing and seeing how we can mitigate this seemingly unsurmountable challenge. Welcome, Theresa Tekenah. Thank you for joining us on the show. And Alex Adekunle James. Thank you for joining us. I'm sure our audience are intrigued and interested to get to know you, so I'll give you a minute to intimate them.
My name is Theresa Tekenah.
I'm the founder and publisher of Tekenah.com, a political blog updated for young people. I'm also a member of the All Progressive Congress. I'm the interim publicity secretary of the Progressive Young Women Forum. I've also participated in several elections. I've served in several committees in the All Progressive Congress.
All right, thank you for coming. Alex?
Thank you. I'm Alex Adekunle James. I'm the author of Politics That Works, co-author of Politics That Works book, and also the founder and convener of RID movement. RID is short for Rivers in the Desert, is an NGO to mobilize young people and position them for national transformation through politics.
Thank you very much. You can see our guests are the right people to discuss this important topic. So, what practical steps should a young Nigerian take to participate politically?
All right. Thank you for the question. I've not had any personal experience. However, when working on this book, I was able to I interviewed. The book also contains we tried to interview about 10 the 10 of youngest members of the House and Senate, and I also co-authored it with the Special Advisor to the President on Political Affairs, that Senator Babafemi Ojudu. So, I mean, in the process of this information gathering, one thing was common to all of the young people that participated, and that would be, first of all, just getting involved, just like Theresa said, just that decision to actually get involved, and that has to start early, because we see how a lot of young people want to just want to do it the Indomie approach. They want to join tomorrow. They want to be catapulted to the top. They want to join today and run for presidency tomorrow. That's not what we're talking about, because most of the examples we have today are people that have done things like that. When it's time, when election is drawing close, they just come and say, I want to run for presidency. And then when the result comes out, it is so heartbreaking. And then they're like, I'm not playing politics, but this is so dirty. But that's not how to actually participate. That's not how. We cited in the book, I cited examples of young politicians across the world, from president of some of those islands in those different countries, with very young leaders from their 20s to early 30s. And something is also common to all of them. There were people that started even in Nigeria. They started pretty young, at least from the time that they won election to when they started, there's some 10 years gap. They grew in the system. So it's just like you join civil service today and you want to be the permanent secretary tomorrow. There's a process. You're supposed to be there for a period of time, and it's not just being there. It's about growing, understanding the system, understanding how things work, understanding how getting to build capital, getting to earn your respect with even all of the political leaders, the community leaders. I mean, they need to have seen you. You must have been very resourceful in the party for years. Join from your local government, even from your ward, attend meetings, get familiar with all these people, solve little problems, and then when it's time to run, you've established your foot. People know you, and then you've participated, you've served. But some people just want to be in their private practice, and then maybe 6 months or 1 year to election, they're like, I want to run. And in the state, people are just seeing posters for somebody that has never attended any meeting in that area, or that does not even know anybody in that area. That's not what participation is about. It's about getting involved early and then growing, and not and growing in the process, getting resourceful. Go for those meetings where those community, grassroots political meetings, the ward meetings, the local government meetings, and participate. One of the examples we cited in the book is the example of a federal representative from one of those states, Small Alaji, popularly called Small Alaji, that is young, and a lot of young people really want to be like him, but people don't know what he has had to do, how many years he has invested in politics, in grassroots politics, before he could get to where he is today. I think young people should get involved early enough and, invest into it. Invest time, invest energy, invest a lot, pour yourself into it, and then the reward will come, because you begin to expand your understanding of politics.
I'm not personally not a fan of youth and women forums in political parties, because you don't hear of men's forum, right? And I feel like these forums are a way to, might not be meant to do that, but they somehow inhibit. So young people go into these parties and they join these forums and are just limited to the youth forum, and the women just engage in the women forum. While if you're a man, if you're elderly, you join the party, you're just a party man, right? So, how effective, as your acting public secretary of the Progressive Youth, so how effective are the youths in the party under the umbrella of these forums that exist?
Well, the thing is, when it comes to politics, youth, women, we face challenges. So that's why you see there's clamor for young people, there's clamor for young women, for elderly women, because at the end of the day, the political space is filled with men. We can't shy away from that. That's the fact. It's filled with men. So for more inclusion, the women have to go extra mile, and that's where you tend to have forums, because if as a woman, you have just one voice, but when you come together, that's a huge voice. So that's why you see that young people, women, we're all clamoring for inclusion, and that's where all these forums come in. And answering your question, if young people don't stand up and take up spaces, the old men, they've been there in the system, they understand. If you look at our democracy from 1999, you find out that these are people who have worked right from the military era, they're still in the system. So we young people, we're kind of coming in late. It might look like we're coming in early, but then you're still late. So the old men are not going to retire for you. In fact, most politicians, it's even death that take them out of politics. So that's where you tend to have forums. And for me, being a member of the Progressive Young Women Forum and being the publicity secretary, because I've participated in various committees, mainly as media, because that's where my strength is. I found my voice through media. So in the Progressive Young Women Forum, we have across all 36 states, we have women, young women. It's focused on women, because at the end of the day, you still find out that we have women, elderly women who are like 45, 40, 50, and they have been in the system as well. So our national woman leader found out that there's actually a gap between the younger women and the older women, because the older women feel like they are the women, they are the ones. So we really needed that young women to have a voice in the party. And that was where we had this forum. And we've made tremendous progress, you know. The young women, we see women, we have a target to include like 50 million young people, to bring in 50 million young people to vote for the APC in 2023 election. So we have state chapters, we have, you know, women doing exploits in their states. So it's a whole lot that young people have to do to get to participate. It's one thing to join political parties, but then when you join, you still have to make sure that your voice is heard. So we need forums. So those.
Good to hear.
And can I also weigh in on this subject before you leave the subject? I'll say that even beyond forums within the party, there's also the idea or the concept of caucus. And this is where real politics come to play. And caucus is also, while forums are the public groups where they have common goal within the party, caucuses are the secret ones that have goals also to also have common goals, but not something so public. And there's, I must say that we have to draw the line before we dive into that, because I've been clamoring for youth caucus within the party, and I would explain, not the way that we see now, because the reason why APC, for example, has not been able to do their convention up to now is because there's a certain interest, and the small group of people that have powerful people within the party with interest are the ones driving it. So we just see some decisions being made. We don't know when they had the meeting. We don't know when anything happened, and we just get to see results. I worked with a senator in the 8th Assembly, and I know how many times that I'd gone with him for meetings in the middle of the night, party meetings, that I know how many meetings, how many regular meetings, and then there was a meeting before that meeting, and after the meeting there was another meeting of the smaller group. And then you're just like, wow. So what I mean by I've been clamoring for youth caucus is, if we are going to get young people to not just equalize with older people in the party, but to take over these party structures at the expiration of the current strongholds in the party, because we must admit that all of the godfathers in the parties, they are very old. They are give them 10, 15, 20 years, and all are fizzled out, either died or retired, or they can't even remember anything again. Because look around, look at them. They are in their 80s. Some of them are approaching 90s. Yes. So, and I don't necessarily agree that they are not young people in the parties. They are young people, but we just have the young elites, the kind of young people that we want, because they are young people that are the political thugs today, that are the one going to snatch ballot. They are young people. But if we, the enlightened and upright visionary young people, sit back, those are the people that will take over the party at the expiration of these current strongholds. They are the ones that will come, because we saw that, we've seen that in history. Most of the people that are holding the party at ransom today were political thugs. In the past, there were political talks of people like Bola Ige, people like people that actually started the party, Awolowo and Co. I don't want to mention them, but we can't. It's in black and white. If we can go back to history, so if we don't actually take over this party structure, they won't give us on a platter. So, calling for a caucus is saying that young people should first of all populate these parties, and then when you populate these parties, yes, you can join some of these forum boards. There has to be groups that will come together and say, how can we, starting from this ward, how can we take this ward? How can we ensure that within the next 6 months or within the next 1 year, there's at least 3 of us in the local leadership?
Good. I think we want to have, those meetings that happen after those congresses. Yeah, we want to have effectiveness there.
Actually, speaking about, I kind of tend a bit towards what you say, because it seems like a box is created and young people are just put there that, face your forum, face your 3, we'll give you people 3 slots, exactly. Give us 3 people, and then 3 out of maybe 200 reps seats in a state.
Yeah,
Only so they say we give you 3 slots, but that's not what we want. We want, if we are going to transform Nigeria, Nigeria is going to be that nation that is going to compete on a global scale, that is going to be a first world nation. We don't want slots.
Yeah.
Young people we should take over this.
We should be the main.
We should actually take over this. But look at France, for example. How old is our president? Macron started a party. Yeah. He started a party and then was able to pull in all the young people, and from that platform he rose to become the president. And if you check in the last say 4 years, or in the last all the period that has been president, there's been a shift. The whole country is beginning to shift from old people to young people, because a young mind would want to work with people that can match him in work output. And so bit by bit there's a change. The nation is a nation led by actual young people doing magnificent things. So we have to come to that place where we can actually, because we don't even want that box to say that you guys, okay, make do with these 3 slots, make do with this 4 slot. We should actually be the decision makers.
All right. Since you mentioned the Macron situation, let me ask you, because there are many youths who are like, they don't want to go Theresa's route. They don't want to enter any of the established parties because they feel it's already rotten, and anywhere that gets into them gets eaten up. And they are planning to start a new movement, youth-focused, youth-sponsored movement. How feasible do you think that is in the Nigerian system?
We talked about it lengthily in the book, and it is so far, there's the clamor for a third force in Nigeria, for example. Another strong party apart from APC and PDP that can compete on that level has been, let me say, a waste of time so far. And I'm not saying that it's impossible to build a third force, just like it happened in France, although the dynamics is different. Their politics is run by ideology. So the parties that existed in France before, they were extreme left, extreme right, and then Macron came and said, let's have a middle ground. We'll pick some of the good values from the left, some of the good values from right, and form a ideology around it. And most people that will say, I'm not a leftist, although I like the fact that they're against this, they're against this, and I also like it, they finally found a voice. But our politics is not driven by ideology, so let's not even go there. I mean, but when it comes to Nigeria, I know that we talked about how the most realistic way for a third force to happen. And I remember talking to a lot of political say godfather, like we call them, even in the APC, that is it possible, how possible do you think is this for a party to rise up and actually defeat a new party and defeat PDP, APC? And it's huge. It will require a whole lot, just like we said earlier, it requires years of investment, huge resources, and a lot is just required that I don't think that young people in our generation are ready and able to put in. I'm just being extremely realistic right now. It is just ideology driven. In 2019, I was part of the third force. I worked closely with Feladro Toye, Kesemogalu. In fact, after the election, I posted a picture with all of them. Feladro, Kesemogalu, Showore, I at least established one contact with all of them during that period, because I was clamoring heavily for it. But I've just come to see that, okay, if this is going to work, I mean, for example, even at that level, they couldn't even come together to bring a consensus candidate. And the parties like APC, PDP were able to look at APC, for example, at that 2019. People like some people dropped down, or PDP rather. People like Saraki dropped Kwakwan. So these are big wigs that can buy off all those small parties with a wave of their hand, and they were willing to step down just so that they can. So if at this level we can't even have a concept, I mean, that's the smallest of these. So I'm just saying that a lot more is required. a lot more is required, and we're not. I don't think we are ready as it is now to get to that. And the thing is that time, if we're even going to achieve that, let me just add this: if we're going to achieve that, it will take nothing less than, from my own view, it will take nothing less than 10 years of hard work into building a party structure.
Right. Theresa, apart from the issue of the decay or the rottenness that many people feel the old guard, the old parties have, there's also the issue of funding, of godfatherism, the way we call it. And like Alex explained in the book he co-authored, godfatherism in itself is not bad, but it's when the godfather tends to overimpose his will and doesn't move from being a mentor to actively running the government de facto. That's when there's a problem. And this is what we see happening in most major parties. Like, they support a young candidate, but they basically dictate all that he does. So as a young person in a major party, how can a young person join a party with an ambition, keep his integrity and values, and use the support of the party and not lose his ideology?
Well, first of all, I don't agree with the fact that parties don't have ideologies. There's always something that brings people together. Maybe they may deviate after a while, but there's always that one thing.
No, ideologies may exist, but in Nigeria, what he meant is that we don't really focus on ideologies when playing politics.
Yeah.
As in other climes. I think that's what he meant.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, but then as a young person, first of all, you can't just say you want to join politics because it's admirable. If you have a purpose, if you know why you're joining politics, then that will be able to guide you as you evolve. So, and then when you have that purpose, you know that I want to solve problems. I want to be able to make an impact. For me, that's what drives me. I want to see a world where young people are skilled, they have the ability to prosper. Now, if you already have a purpose, when you join political parties, you need to always be reminding yourself, you need to be able to have good mentors, good leaders. There are people you have to look up to. Before I joined politics, there were people I looked up to, and when I joined, I followed their paths. People like Abike Dabiri, I've always admired her from a distance. So when I joined the party, I aligned with her vision. She counsels me, she tells me when to do things, when not to do things. The last time I met with her, she told me you need to move from being an influencer to being the real influence. So when you have people of integrity mentoring you, even when you feel like you want to go astray, they'll always be there to guide you. Because at the end of the day, you can't take away the fact that there's godfatherism in politics. There'll always be that one person that actually pushed you, that actually recommended you for something. Because at the end of the day, you can't do it on your own. It's a whole lot of people involved in politics. And if you don't have someone speaking for you, someone will bring you to the table, then you'll just be lost in the whole atmosphere. So young people should not just see politics as dirty. If you as a person have values, if you as a person, you're not corrupt, if you don't let it get to you, you can actually make an impact. You can actually play politics without being... President Buhari is a man of virtue. He has that integrity. He has, even as a military man, he was disciplined, and he still has that discipline till now. You can never see any corruption stain on him. He in fact hates corruption. So it's an individual thing. If you are corrupt as a person, when you go into any area, even if it's not politics, if it's business, if it's in your career path, if you yourself, you don't have values that guide you, then you mess yourself up. So I think as young people, we need to know who we are as a person. We need to know what we expect when we join politics. And then when you finally join political parties, don't let the... And anyway, people think that there's even money in politics. Sometimes it's not always like that, because it's an opportunity to serve. So if you go there with the purpose of enriching yourself, you end up being so corrupt. And at the end of the day, you don't want... Because whatever you do, it will always come in the open. That's why you see a lot of politicians have EFCC cases. And I think we also need to read about our leaders. If we read about our leaders, we'll be able to know the mistakes that they've made. And when you go in, you'll be able to correct them. You'll be able to know that, okay, I shouldn't make this same mistake. And the world will celebrate you.
All right. Alex, I'm going to pick two quotes from the book and ask my next question of that. And so you said in campaign situations, it works better to appeal to emotions than intellect. That's talking about the Nigerian system. And he also said that the 3 C's that are needed for visionary leadership is competence, character, and compassion. Right. So I want to talk about, because most young Nigerians going to governance have the first two, competence and character, is the compassion of understanding what the people are going through. And also, but I have a question as regards this appeal to emotion more than intellect, and your co-author, the senator, the advisor to the president, he put a lot of his personal experiences when he was running there, which was quite helpful. And there are many things that he did, or that he tolerated, or that he turned a blind eye to, that while I was reading them, I was asking myself, it was in his shoes, with my ideals as a young person, as a forward-thinking person, would I really be able to do this? Like sometimes he said he knows they are trying to defraud him, but because he needs their support, he just allows them get away with it. Now, if that is what you're doing to get into power, wouldn't that make it more difficult for you to clean up the system since you tolerated some of those things during your campaign process?
Okay, so there's a difference between, there's a huge difference between now upholding, being strategic in politics, playing politics, and then being evil or being corrupt. So we cannot deny the fact that, in fact, the word politics itself, if you say you're a politician, it means that you are strategic. There's a way that you'd approach what you are doing, the office you're running for, or the government, the office you are functioning from, that is not open to all, like a business transaction. Politics means that in itself, it means that you are trying to get something, you are trying to go by every means to get something, and by every means not crossing the line. So it's a very dicey thing, and I would say that's why it's very difficult for upright people to go into politics and keep their integrity. It's difficult, but it's not impossible. And having said that, I'll give an example that if we are going to be realistic about politics, you are going to have to be strategic. You are going to have to be extremely strategic, but you have to draw the line.
It means if you want to play, if you want to get in to do the changes you want to make in the country, you have to just simply play the Nigerian brand of politics without crossing the line. This conversation cannot be exhausted, but we just have to wrap up. And I just want to get your final thoughts one after the other, especially as regards 2023. What would you like to see, and what would you like to tell young Nigerians? Theresa, you first.
For young Nigerians, I want them to, I think social media is already making a lot of people involved in politics. A lot of people now, they want to know, they're participating, they're engaging in political conversation. I really want them to keep it going. So, and then young people, I know there are lots of influencers out there, but young people should make up their mind. Don't follow the crowd. You need to know and then vote with love and not with hatred for one person or perceived hatred. So young people should be able to read about leaders, look at the contestants, read about them, form your own opinion about that person, not relying on opinion of other people. Fine, other people's opinion might count, but then you as a person need to know, you need to look at the antecedents of this person. Has he managed resources? Has he managed people? What are his achievements? What do you think? You can read about the manifesto of candidates and make up your mind, because young people really need to vote in this election. This new INEC Electoral Act is going to ensure that a lot of rigging is not done. True. So, but if young people can come out in mass to vote, we'll be able to make a statement. So just vote, get your PVC, participate. That's it.
All right, Alex?
All right. I would like to tell young people or advise young people to get involved by joining a party and actually coming to that place where we can replace the people we've been complaining about in politics. I would like to have young people read my book. So that you can know how to begin and where to begin. We're trying to get young people. We have a goal of we're trying to get young people we're trying to populate party system from the grassroots level, from ward, local government. So all the enlightened young people, educated young people, you can carve out a little time from your pursuit, your career pursuit, and get involved in politics. Because if we don't have the upright people come and play politics, we are still going to leave politics in the hand of the people we have been complaining about, and we'll keep complaining, we'll keep going in circles. So I want young people to get involved. There are 1,001 ways to get involved.
So most of the conversations we've had have been centered on this book, co-authored by our guest Alex and Senator Babafemi Ojudu. It's Politics That Work: What Schools and Seminars Won't Teach You About Winning Elections. Now, this book, I've read it myself twice. It's actually a practical manual. If you have any interest in running for office, or you want to know what to expect from the candidates you should support that are running for office, this book is a must-have. You can get it on the website www.politics.worksbook.com. Order your copy, order for your friends, order for your ward members. We've been told to begin our activism from the ward level. And just read up, be informed and engage. This has been the Reawakening Nigeria, and as we always say on the show, Nigeria must work, Nigeria can work, Nigeria will work, but only when we all work. Until next time, bye-bye.